Now, Harold.
Harold.
You were asking a question, I believe, about Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Was Voldemort... Was he a teacher for Harry Potter?
Look at that shit.
This is the Mario
The
zone.
Mario
Why
zone.
would Wario build this? To creep out Mario?
Yeah.
I guess
He's
so.
like, look at this, Mario.
No,
Harold.
Mario built it.
Harold, Voldemort, are you asking...
He had to
was
be a teacher,
Are you
it
asking
said.
was Tom Riddle ever a teacher?
Yes.
Spoiler is his real name's Tom Riddle.
Yeah.
Are you
Or
a-
is it?
Oh, is it?
Or is it?
Yeah, it was.
Or was it?
Yeah, it was. Here's the thing. Harold, no, he was never a teacher. He went to Hogwarts, but he was a sneaky son of a bitch. Spoilers. No. When he was done with Hogwarts, he immediately went off trying to amass power. It apparently took him a while, because here's the thing.
Hit a few things.
Chronologically speaking, dude, why, Harold? Can I ask William? William's the one playing. Why, William?
I'm sorry.
Chronologically speaking, he went to Hogwarts, I want to say in the 30s. I want to say in the 1930s, Tom Riddle was a teenage man, and he went to Hogwarts.
Okay.
Now, so I
Look out for
don't,
that spike.
I don't know why you're doing it. Now, according to lore, keep in mind I've never read the books. I just read some internets and I saw the movies. When fucking Dumbledore fought Gellert Grindelwald, or whatever his name is, his old best friend from childhood, and because Grindelwald, okay, during like World War II, legit during World War II time, stop hitting those aren't power-ups. Not a single one of those is a power-up. Stop fucking hitting them, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, I'm trying to talk about Harry Potter. So, when that shit was happening, while Hitler was taking over like real Europe, Grindelwald, or whatever his name was he had amassed a magic army, and he was under the belief that Dumbledore used to share as a teenager, that humans were too sick to rule themselves. They were fucking up the earth, which honestly, fairly true, and they needed magic people to rule over them to make the world better. And that's what Grindelwald wanted, or whatever his name is, Grindelgrundel. Grindelgrundel wanted to rule the world. And so he had a magic army during World War II era, and he managed to take over some kind of small Eastern European country, wherever there used to be like a magic prison or something called Nurmstrang or something, right? It was something like that. And he took over that prison. That was his fortress. He had actually taken over an entire like Muggle country, and he was planning to branch out from there, and nobody could beat him for some reason, or no one wanted to try. Maybe it was like a World War II appeasement type scenario. Until Dumbledore said, that's it. I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. And so he went to Eastern Europe, challenged Grindelgrundel to a duel. You missed, by the way. And they fought. Grindelgrundel was so powerful because he found and stole the Elder Wand from a, like, Eastern European or Russian or whatever. A wand maker called Grigorovich had the Elder Wand somehow. He fucking stole the most powerful wand in the world, and that's how he was super powerful. But Dumbledore was still better at magic than he was, so Dumbledore beat his ass in a magic duel, took the Elder Wand because he won it in the duel, and then locked Grindelgrundel in the tower that he took over, and that was his prison from then on. And so, in the meantime, fucking who knows? I think Tom Riddle was still a kid at that point, or not a kid, but he was like a teenager. He may have still been at Hogwarts at the time, or he may have already graduated, whatever. And who fucking knows? Apparently, the point is, it took Voldemort all the way from the 40s to like the early 90s to fucking, or something like, wait, no, maybe it was the 80s. That's what it was. It was like the 80s, the early 80s. Because that's when Harry Potter was born. That's when Harry Potter was born, was the 80s. Harry Potter was born like right in the middle of the quote-unquote First Wizarding War, which was when Voldemort and his Death Eaters were in the middle of just killing everybody and trying to do some serious shit.
So who is Voldemort then?
What are you asking?
Is
He was just a guy. The point of the book was that anybody could potentially turn super evil and be a bad guy.
Okay.
He wasn't anyone special. He was a guy who had like literally kind of crazy, mentally challenged magic mother and like a dumbass white trash Muggle father, and like there might have been some shit. Like the grandfather was not happy. His family was not happy with the fact that the daughter got pregnant by a Muggle, and they may have done some shit. There might have been some murder happening. I can't confirm that. But like the point is, he was raised in foster care. No one liked him. Poor me. He was just kind of a bad kid because that's how he was coming up. And he decided that, you know what, I'm gonna fucking do it. And so when Dumbledore approached him and said, "Hey, you're a wizard, Harry. You should come to Hogwarts. We're gonna teach you to be good. It's not your fault that you are the way you are. You're gonna be good from now on." He pretended to go along with it. There are hints. I don't know about the book, but there's hints in the flashback scenes where Dumbledore goes to meet young Tom Riddle. That he already had some inkling of what he wanted to do, except maybe he just didn't know magic, right? He didn't know, he knew he could do things, but he didn't, like, there was some subtle hints. There was like a drawing of the cave he'd already been to as a kid. He'd already been to that cave, and he did something to two kids that were with him that was so bad that they were traumatized and they didn't want to talk about it. And keep in mind that he was 10 or 11 when he did bad things to other kids, right? Really bad things that they didn't want to talk about. And then, like, he also had, like, 7 little seashells he collected on his windowsill, which is, like, spoilers, it's foreshadowing, right? But when he went to Hogwarts and started learning magic, which was a bad idea, don't teach him the Force, Luke, right? He fucking, like, went looking at shit. He went reading about shit he shouldn't have, and that's where he learned about, spoilers, the concept of, like, Horcruxes and shit. So he already knew. He had some plans.
So, but he wanted to be immortal.
Yes. But here's the thing. Well, he didn't just want to be immortal. He wanted to make sure that he was indestructible. And
then
like,
he could do whatever the fuck he
yeah,
wanted
because then he
without
could just,
worrying about it.
yeah, he just do whatever he wants. And so the thing is, my only quandary is, why did it take him like legitimately about 40 years to build up power and get to the point where he had an army and could take over, right?
I think there's a lot, and maybe this is because I read all the books.
He read the books.
I didn't see all the movies, and I kind of didn't care.
Sure.
Because when I don't even remember everything in the book 100%. So when I watched the movies, like, it wasn't as if I was watching a thing I remember happening. Most of it, like, if you ask me what's the difference between the book and the movie for number 4, I'd be like,
It's
I don't
longer.
know.
It's
I would just
longer,
be like,
yeah.
I don't know. The movie was probably right. Like, I can't tell you shit. I feel like there's a line where they go into that, like, making a Horcrux is really hard.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot out of you. And either the assumption I made or the thing they said was that it took him so long because he wanted to have, like, 7 Horcruxes. He wanted to have a bunch of them.
Oh.
And first of
Yeah.
all, tearing your soul into 8 pieces
Yeah.
is a fucking nightmare. So he had to research that. And second of all, even when he figured out how to do that, there was a big recovery time after every one he made. And he also had to cover his tracks so people wouldn't find them.
Oh.
That's what I also. Do we know what his parents? Do we know his dad's last name was Riddle?
His Muggle father's name was Tom Riddle Sr.
Huh.
Your sister gave you the mumps. Your brother gave you the flu. Your best friend gave you chicken pox. It's payback time. With help from Dr. Mario. Go head-to-head on NES or link up on Game Boy. Then contaminate, exterminate, and spread the viruses. When you score, you infect your opponent. Make them sweat, run a fever, get the chills. Dr. Mario. With 2 players, it's germ warfare.
Can I play? Sure.
So again, I don't know if they changed that for the movie.
Legoland.
If they changed that for the movie, I wouldn't know. If it was like that in the book the whole time, I wouldn't know. But I could have sworn that in Chamber of Secrets, that at the end of it, when the Tom Riddle reveal happens, that Harry asks Dumbledore something like, Tom Riddle, that seems like a weird name, is that his real name? And Dumbledore gives him some non-answer, like, well, does it really matter what his name is? Or something like that.
Well,
so I don't know if maybe they changed it for the movie to make it so that his surname really is Riddle, or if they never established the parents' names in the book.
Sure.
But also, if they never establish a surname, the point remains that if they find the family, or if Voldemort knows about the family, then he would be able to figure out the name. But maybe if it's true that Voldemort just gives a non-answer like it doesn't matter, and maybe that's true. Maybe it just doesn't matter what the name is.
Here's the thing. Keep in mind, at some point, okay, well, I know a lot of what I know because I've done some internet research into the shit from the books. And, like, at some point in his history, post-Hogwarts, he legitimately went and, like, killed the rest of his Muggle father's family.
Sure.
He just killed them because he was disgusted by the fact that he was related to non-magical people at all.
So do we learn
and
the
that's
father's
how,
surname in a flashback from his perspective? Or how do we know it?
I'm not sure. But here's the thing. I do know that that's how, like, a couple of his Horcruxes, that's how he got the ring. That was like a family heirloom from his mother. And, like, one other thing, there was like a locket or a whatever. There was a ring and a locket or something like that. Two of those things were like family heirlooms from his mother's side. The magical family. Who he may or may not have also killed because he's just psycho.
Sure.
Yeah.
Need to cover his tracks.
Now look at those pigs. What are you gonna do,
Three
Liam?
little pigs, get it?
Kill him.
Oh,
one's in a wood house.
Yeah.
One's in a... Oh, wait, no. Straw, wood, brick. Got it. Done.
And you're just burning them alive. You're just making
Dude,
bacon.
you're baking them. You're baking them.
Well,
Are you going to be good about it? Are you going to be really good about it?
No, come on.
Yeah, come on, Liam. You get to
Okay, here's the brick pig.
Yeah, all you got to do is hit him twice, man. Maybe 3 times. Maybe just 3 times. Can you do it, Liam?
Can you do
I mean,
it?
all he literally does is bounce around. It's his only offense.
Oh, you got it.
You did it.
Da 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 da.
You did
There
it.
you get that coin. There it is.
Look at that.
Put it in the
there
gate.
it is.
Harold Wario put that
there
gate
it
in.
is.
Harold Wario.
Mario
put that
did
in.
not put the
That's
gate.
not Mario's gate.
Okay.
Mario
That's
never
the Mario
put a
zone.
gate like
We'll
that.
discuss gates next time.